take the muslin and we're going to iron it just to flatten it. Okay, now, we tore the fabric. It is very likely that when we bring the selvage and this other edge that we tore together, that these crosswise edges will not match. Okay, so we have to correct that before we even think about using this fabric, because if we drape it off grain, the garment will be off grain. Okay, so we have to fix the grain. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we identify where it's off. So do you see how I'm bringing the lengthwise edge over to the selvage and matching it up. Now, do you notice how this edge is lower here? And over here, it's hanging down. So that tells me that I need to take the short ends, which would be this end and this end, and I have to slightly, very gently, pull on the 45-degree angle to correct my fabric. Because it's torn, it could be off grain a little, but it could be off grain also because of the weaving process, or the finishing process, or the process where they wound it onto the spool at the very end. Anything that happens during manufacturing could make it go off grain, even printing, sizing, anything. So now that I've pulled it, I bring it back together and I look to see if I've corrected it, and sure enough, it's good now. So before I go back to my desk, I'm going to iron it to set it. Okay, so just use your iron and give it one last press. Be careful not to over manipulate it. Okay, so just give it a press to kind of set it, and then we'll check it one more time. Okay, so let's check it and see if it's still correct. Okay, so it looks pretty good. It looks like it's matching there. Okay, so you guys understood what I did? Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Don't leave it hanging or anything. Just kind of fold it up and put it on the side. Let's go ahead and do this one. We'll go ahead and iron this one as well. This selvage is a little bit wavy, so I'm going to not use it at center front or center back. I'm going to use the torn edge. And I'll show you how we're going to mark that in just a second. Okay, so first thing I'm doing is just ironing it to get it to lay smooth. And now I'm going to bring the selvage over to the crossways edge. And this edge is a little bit longer, but not a lot. So I'm going to pull from the shorter ends at a 45-degree angle. Notice I'm not going all the way over here. That's not 45 degrees. If I go like this, this is 45 degrees. Okay? Do you see how I figured out 45? So I'm going to pull it where the 45-degree angle is, just gently. I don't need much with this. Okay? And depending on your fabric, you may need more or less. Okay, so I've pulled it. Now I'm going to bring it together, and it looks like it's pretty good now. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and press that one last time to kind of set it. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm ready to go ahead and start preparing it for the drape. So first I've fixed my fabric. Now my next step is I'm going to take my pencil and my ruler, and I'm going to measure 1 inch from this edge. Okay, so put your ruler up right against that torn edge, and we're going to mark 1 inch.
It looks like 1.5 inches that you have.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Well, let me turn it over so I don't have too many marks. Thank you.
Sure.
I don't have my glasses on, but thank you for telling me that.
Sure.
Okay. I should have brought my glasses over. There we go. Okay, so go ahead and mark your inch. See? Okay. And we'll continue it here. Okay, so I've got my inch. Now I'm going to press it on that edge. Okay, this is going to be used at center front and center back when we're doing our draping. This has to be very, very accurate. Okay, so we got 1 inch. I'm not overly stretching it or anything, doing kind of more of an up and down motion. Okay, so here's my first piece all ready to go with 1 inch folded over and pressed on the edge. I'm not using the selvage, I'm using the torn edge. Sometimes you can use the selvage, but I feel like this one's too ripply, so I'm not happy with it, so I'm going to use this other edge that I tore. Okay, now I'm going to mark 1 inch on this edge. I'll have you guys double check me. That looks good, doesn't it? For 1 inch? Okay, thank you. I have my glasses over there. They don't do me much good when they're over there. All the way along. Okay, now let's go ahead and press that over. That doesn't look as good right there as I thought it did. Is that a little bit wavy this way?
Is that the back piece? Oh no. It's front.
Yeah, this is, both of them are done the same way. I'm just going to double check what I did here. It seemed to move maybe when I marked it, so I'm remarking it. I could see it went crooked, so I probably slipped a little. Okay, I'll press that over. Okay, so I've got 1 inch there and there. Okay, and now we're ready to go ahead and do the regular marking that we need to do for the rest of it. So I want you guys to come over, iron it flat first, make sure if it's off grain to fix it. I checked it by bringing my cut edge, my torn edge over to my selvage, and if I saw one side was short, then I pulled it from the short side going at a 45-degree angle, working it all the way down. Press it again once it's fixed. Then mark 1 inch, fold it over, press it on both your pieces. Okay, and then we'll head back over there after you're done and finish up. And this doesn't look as straight as I